Hello, everybody. It's Max with Crypto Talk now. I'm sure at this point, a lot of you guys heard of this expression of the Great Reset. But basically, what does that mean? And what does that entail for the likes of the average retail investor? Now, when it comes to XRP, the statement of retail investor has never been the focus of the likes of Ripple. Brad Garlinghouse has basically mentioned that and so on. But without further ado, let's get right into our particular coverage and why this is so important to understand what the Great Reset is all about. So, as you can see right here, this comes, of course, straight from this particular individual. Once again, I'll give him a shout out. His name is Coach JV, and he has lots of great coverage, of course, about the likes of XRP and some of these other ISOs. Now, on this particular statement he made, which is Ripple/XRP in the World Economic Forum, the quote-unquote Great Reset, listen to what he has to state on this particular clip. If anything, it's going to give you a broader perspective of what it basically means, and of course, we'll do a thorough breakdown here at CTN on how this relates to what is going on with the likes of Ripple, XRP, cross-border payments, you name it. This is about 3 minutes, and of course, we'll come right back here briefly to do some post commentary here in the moment. So here we go.
This is really important stuff that nobody's paying attention to. Everybody's looking this way at FTX as many things are happening. There's hints being dropped on exactly what we've been saying for the past 2 years. As the FTX collapse goes down and everybody's looking this way, there's a lot of things going on this way. So on September 21st, 2022, the World Economic Forum launched the Crypto Sustainable Coalition and Web3 potential for fighting climate change. Now remember, the World Economic Forum, Larry Fink is on the board of trustees. Who's Larry Fink? He is the head of BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world. And his job as the board of trustees is to move the mission and purpose of the World Economic Forum. Ripple, Stellar, Avalanche, and many other are part of this coalition around moving in Web3 to support climate change. And if you watch my video today, link in my bio, I talk about the fact that all the news stations and all the Congress people now are talking about, yes, crypto is here to stay, but, the big but, we are going to be wiping out non-utility tokens. They don't say it that way. Here's what they say. The ones that have real world solve, like supply chain, movement of money, infrastructure, software, the new monetary system are here to stay. And I've been telling you guys, the Ripple SEC case doesn't make any sense. The only sense it makes is they sued the most well-run, most capitalized, most dominant crypto company in the world because they could use them to bring in regulation and figure out what's a security and what's not a security. So as they threw this case out against Ripple, they all moved into cryptocurrency companies to consult for them, getting themselves set up as they tell us cryptocurrency is fraud to get the retail investors out. And what they're going to do is they're going to regulate the living shit out of these exchanges. Many of them are going to collapse because they're over collateralized, and you're going to end up with a monopoly of certain exchanges that are connected with the Federal Reserve that will have a master account. And then you'll be in your new monetary system, blockchain technology, on-demand liquidity, distributed ledger technology, and you'll realize those who control the money, control the information, control the people. It's nothing new under the sun. It's a switch from industrial to technical. The old monetary system is done. Sovereignty is here, and it's always been available to you. You're not gonna run from anybody. You've always been free. Warriors!
All right, so shout out, of course, to Coach JV, and you can follow him at Coach JV_. He has great content. What he brings to the table from his perspective of what's going on, for instance, with the World Economic Forum, you name it, is really, really great coverage. Now, in regards to some of just that, right? I want to go ahead and show you some of this as well. I'm going to come back into the frame for just a moment and check this out in itself. So, there was this, again, kind of like in connection to some of the things that Coach JV was basically stating. So this comes from Clive Thompson. If you're wondering who he is, basically, he's a retired wealth manager, of course, in Switzerland. And his particular perspective and breakdown of what's going on with this quote-unquote Great Reset brings a whole other perspective, to say the least, on what could very well happen here soon. Now, of course, I'm not trying to make any conspiracy or anything like that. If anything, I just want to bring different perspectives, and if anything, let people be more aware of what the situation could very well be, right? What could come to light, and so on. This gentleman brings just that, a type of perspective in which really makes you think about everything that's going on, especially with what the World Economic Forum is trying to present to us, and so on. The Great Reset, if you will. And then on top of that, for instance, what the likes of XRP, XLM, and some of these bring to the table as far as, the cross-border payments. Again, the change in the monetary system. And that's the key takeaway when it comes to this whole Great Reset. This one is about 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Listen to this, and of course, we'll come right back for some commentary here in a brief bit. And if anything, I'm going to full screen this one as well. All right, here we go.
I think it's quite likely that the CBDC will arrive, and it will also be the subject of the currency reset at the same time. At some point, the world is going to go into a crisis, or a country is going to go into a crisis. It might be the UK, it might be Italy, might even be the United States, but something is going to happen. Things are very, very taut in the financial world at the moment. When that happens, I think they will close the banks. You'll wake up on a Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning and hear the news that they've shut the banks, they're not going to open on Monday. And then by Monday evening or Tuesday, you'll get the announcement that we're having a new currency, the CBDC, and don't worry, it'll be 1-to-1 against the old currency. But there'll be some restrictions on your ability to convert your old money into the new money. So if you're poor and you have a small bank account, it'll be converted 1-to-1 straight away. And you'll probably even find that you get a free gift from the government to kickstart the system. Maybe £3,000 or £5,000 will be given to every citizen gratuitously to kickstart the system in the new CBDC. But if you have 100,000 or 1 million in the bank, you're going to be told, yes, it's 1-to-1, but you're going to have to wait to convert it to the new currency. Now, wait means never. We all know that, but they won't tell you that. They'll say it's a temporary suspension because we're in the middle of a crisis. The people are rioting in the streets, and we need to calm the system. So here's some free money, everybody. Go and enjoy yourselves. And by the way, the rich can't convert their money for a while, but they'll be able to do so later. So if you happen to own Apple bonds, they'll be denominated in the old dollars. You won't be able to, it'll still be old dollars. You won't be able to convert those old dollars until you've got the cash. But when you get the cash, you'll need permission to do it. And you're not going to get that permission. It'll be exactly like we had in Britain back before 1975, when we had the exchange controls. You needed permission from the Bank of England. I mean, I remember when I traveled abroad the first time, I was allowed to take £50 with me abroad. Didn't go very far.
No, and yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So
Again, different perspectives and trying to understand, more about this whole thing when it comes to the Great Reset. So, I definitely wanted, of course, to bring this to you guys, and so on. A little bit more in regards to our particular coverage here at CTN in regards to XRP updates and so on. And I definitely want to bring this to your attention. Of course, some key highlights from, believe it or not, mainstream news, right? USA Today and so on. And usually I don't try to stick to the mainstream news because they do try to spin their whole narrative on, let's face it, when it comes to crypto, they especially love to report on the crashing market and so on. They lowball a lot of figures, especially with what the ISOs have and so on. Look into it more yourself. It's a night and day difference when it comes to community driven news and when it comes to crypto mainstream news. But anyway, I want you guys to draw your attention to this right here. So it says, for instance, in regards to David Schwartz, it says Ripple CTO thinks big damage to crypto billionaires could be done in coming months. Former U.S. congressional candidate and crypto influencer David Goldstein has taken to Twitter to share his opinion on what the market is going to see in the near future. According to him, in the next few months, quote, millionaires will be made. Now, I want you guys to just take pause for a moment. All right. So you've seen this outline of, for instance, what Coach JV basically mentioned, the gentleman that you just heard on that last clip, and so on. And then now you even have the likes of, for instance, David Schwartz with his particular statements and so on. It really makes you think to yourself, what the heck is really going on? Is this great reset really a real thing? Yes, to me personally, it is a real thing. But anyway, a little bit more in regards to this. So it says, Ripple CTO David Schwartz has responded to Goldstein's tweet with black irony, saying that these millionaires, quote, will be made out of billionaires. Now think about that in itself, right? We're always talking about the institutional money, right? And how to follow that, and if anything, you see it even in the non-ISOs, we always talk about, follow the money, right? Follow whale activity, how to track whale activities, things like that. But when it comes to the institutional money, it's like on a whole other scale, right? Hence why I love covering the ISOs and so on, because I realize that, that is where the massive amounts of money is tied into these particular cryptos, right? XRP, XLM, Quant, XDC, some of these other ones, right? So where it states this, it says, this appears to be a possible scenario considering Bitcoin's recent nosedive below, of course, that $60,000 level for the first time since early 2020 following the FTX collapse that severely damaged the cryptocurrency market. And you yourself can even look more into this. What are we seeing when, the narrative of mainstream news is get the heck out of crypto. It's going to zero, and all this doom and gloom and so on. What is going on as we speak, right? While that's all going on, if you're following this, you're seeing the big whales, if you will, the institutional money come in and literally buy this up at mass volumes. And that's something to be said. So it doesn't just even end there, right? So you even have Vitalik Buterin chiming in on some of this. And it says, he believes that something important is about to happen. Now listen to this key takeaway. So it says, for instance, Vitalik Buterin, co-founder, of course, as we know, of ETH, has recently puzzled the cryptocurrency community with a cryptic tweet. Because, let's face it, when it comes to cryptic tweets between him and, the other guy, for instance, Satoshi, not Satoshi, but the other guy from Shiba, you know what I'm talking about, the mysterious guy. Basically, they always do cryptic tweets, and of course, that's why, Buterin gets accused of, potentially being the guy who created SHIB. I'm not gonna get in that controversy, but anyway, it says there Buterin stated that based on what he heard, quote, through the grapevine, something important is about to happen. However, the Canadian programmer did not go into much detail, leaving his followers to wonder what he meant by that. Buterin then added, quote, please recognize the fact that my elite social connections to people who are early to know things make me cool, okay? And please help me validate my self-image of coolness. It's like, okay. This made the crypto community struggle to figure out whether Buterin was trolling or actually telling the truth. Some suggested that he was mocking Paul Graham's doom-laden tweet. Now, you could take it as you will when it comes to that, but my thing is, again, it kind of still the timing of this. He's literally saying that after some of these things that recently were posted, I should say, excuse me, when it comes to like some of the comments from David Schwartz and some of these other people and so on, right? So a little bit more in regards to this. It says XRP is closer to beginning, according to U.S. producer E. Smitty. All right. So it says U.S. record producer Eric Finnerud, also known as E. Smitty, recently addressed XRP enthusiasts with his, of course, Twitter page saying that Ripple affiliated token is closer to its beginning than its end. Now listen to this just for a brief moment. Previously, he predicted that XRP price would not only hit $1,000, but it would reach, of course, 5 digits. Now, again, I realized the whole thing of, the narrative with USA Today and so on, other news outlets, they really try to lowball it, but at least they're quoting this particular one. States, this comes as Ripple continues its expansion in the world and is currently working, of course, scaling to the EU market, despite many market watchers saying that there are more collapses ahead following the FTX crash. Additionally, Ripple also reported that on-demand liquidity expansion to nearly 40 payout markets around the world, or nearly 90% of the FX market. And that's a pretty bold statement. And some of these predictions, of course, if anything, brings more attention to just that, what's going on with Ripple's XRP and so on. Now, of course, there's other things here posted about SHIB and so on. And of course, I'm into SHIB. I just wanted to bring some of that to you guys, because it's not just about having, for instance, only the community-driven perspective. It's nice to see a little bit of what is, shared as far as mainstream, right, coverage and so on. So there is a little bit more that I want to outline for you in regards to our particular coverage. And there's this. So again, Ripple's on-demand liquidity, right? So this was basically posted yesterday. By the way, happy first of the month. I can't believe that we're all, only have 31 days left, 25 days to Christmas. But check this out. Ripple's on-demand liquidity joins Amazon payment service provider program. Will it drive XRP price to 5? I mean, they're focusing so much, again, from a retail side, right, which is not the focus of Ripple anyway. But it says drive it to 5. I mean, even if you took this out of the equation, which, don't get me wrong, I'm not discounting the whole thing with Amazon. That is a huge positive catalyst. But again, look into it for yourself. When it comes to the difference of community-driven news and mainstream, the difference is literally night and day. Hence this particular example and so on. And don't get me wrong, XRP to $5 is a huge, big stepping stone, right? But let's face it, even with this, right? Let's say it does hit 5 with this whole Amazon payment service thing that's going on. That SEC, thing basically going away, right? For instance, a big win for Ripple and XRP. That alone, without this, would drive it, in my humble opinion, at least to $10 and so on. But teach his own. But anyway, check this out. So it says, for instance, Inter & Co., formerly Banco International, the owners of leading Brazilian financial services super app Inter and a client of Ripple's on-demand liquidity services, has announced it has joined Amazon payment service provider PSM program. Now, in regards to this particular press release, they have stated that the digital bank, in regards to the partnership, Inter's Brazilian clients who are sellers with, of course, Amazon US will now be able to receive and send cross-border payments directly to Inter accounts. That simply makes sense that they would partner up with the likes of Ripple's XRP, because if anything, that is the premier standout one, along with Stellar's XLM. Now, there's a little bit more in regards to this. If you're wondering about what the partnership is trying to achieve, just like it says right here, the partnership makes Inter one of only 28 providers registered under, of course, the Amazon PSP program worldwide. Amazon, of course, began the program back in 2021 as a part of its ongoing efforts to be the most dependable e-commerce marketplace for customers and retailers around the world, protecting them from fraud and abuse. Now, some people may have the attitude, wow, this is amazing, or this is not that big of a deal. We heard, of course, about, for instance, Amazon even, tinkering the whole idea of, for instance, possibly getting into crypto or making their own token, whatever the case be, right? But if anything, it's not going to be a case of them officially endorsing the likes of Ripple, saying, hey, you're going to use, for instance, Ripple's XRP specifically. No, it's basically them recognizing the technology based on it is the main key takeaway, and the speed, and of course some of this cross-border transactions like it was outlined here. I think this is a big positive catalyst, and of course, this is recent news, and of course, we love to share this info with you here at CTN. Now, a little bit more in regards to this. I wanted to show you guys this particular one because, again, this is another one that made recent news. Again, lots of Ripple XRP news as of lately. So, it says Ripple releases AMM DevNet, which unlocks huge DeFi and XRP liquidity potential. This was posted about 1 day ago. It says Ripple has announced that it has implemented the long-awaited automated market maker AMM feature in a DevNet yesterday. Earlier this year, Ripple X team proposed a technical specification for XLS-30D. This protocol native AMM that is integrated into the order book based DEX on the XRP ledger basically enables developers to integrate their applications directly into the AMM, to enable powerful applications for just that, their users, right? And if anything, it's, again, like I mentioned, countless catalysts they're going on for the likes of Ripple and so on. Now, if you're wondering, like it says right here, what's the secret sauce? Why this is important and so on? It says specifically XLS-30D includes a novel auction mechanism that incentivizes arbitragers while reducing the impact of volatile losses for liquidity pools, for instance. And, you know, that's, I guess you could say that is the secret sauce behind it. In regards to, you know, for instance, David Schwartz with his particular quote regarding the whole matter of the quote-unquote secret sauce, he basically said that it leaves the XRP ledger uniquely positioned to leapfrog other decentralized exchanges, for instance. You know, DEXs and whatnot, right? Those particular applications, I should say, not exactly the, you know, exchanges specifically, but, you know, some of these other features are outlined here. So it says probably the most unique feature is that it allows those that provide liquidity for automated market makers to take a large share of the profits that would normally go to arbitragers. Can't really talk about the secret sauce just yet. Well, sort of does, right? But not the, you know, the ends all or the ins and outs of it, if you will. Maybe due to, for instance, the NDL, non-disclosure, or NDA, non-disclosure agreement, right? So Ripple is going to continue basically targeting this DeFi expansion. Like it shows right here, it says AMMs enable decentralized trading without traditional order books with buy and sell offers. Trading takes place automatically using pools of available tokens. And by the way, this kind of reminds me of something else that we cover here, by the way, I should say, here at CTN. Excuse me, I'm getting a lot ahead of myself. And that is basically the Clearpool project. This totally reminds me of that. If you don't know about Clearpool, look more into it. But they specialize in just that, for instance, liquidity pools, so on and so forth. If you want to look more a little bit into that, we do have a lot of coverage in regards to that. It says users supply the liquidity pools with tokens in the process and earn a small return for doing so. Again, that's basically what Clearpool is. But anyway, look more into it. One problem, however, are arbitragers. In regards to just that, arbitragers, it says they wait until the profit from the arbitrage transaction and thus the expected loss of the pool. I'm sorry, not they, but them as an XLS-30D. And it says that basically exceeds the trading fees while competing against others trying to do the same. Excuse me on that. Ripple proposes a unique mechanism in which the AMM entity continuously auctions trading benefits and, of course, charges them and passes those profits on to liquidity providers. Again, provides some of that, you know, incentives and so on, and it seems like it's a win-win. Literally, like what it says right there for everyone. You can look more into this particular article if you want. I love how they have like this breakdown of, you know, technical analysis and so on. I saw some other ones, you know, saying that this XRP to 60 cents and how that's huge. It's not even a drop in the bucket compared to what we know is going to be coming up here soon. Last but not least, all right, there is this in closing, because I know this is kind of a little bit longer of a video. I definitely wanted to bring all this information to you. It says XRPL AMM network available, of course, for testing and development. A little bit about what we basically talked about, but officially from the Ripple team. And I wanted to show you some of the technical documentation in regards to this. So, of course, we talked a little bit about, the liquidity providers, some of these liquidity pools, and so on. I mean, it mentioned how, or reminded me of what Clearpool basically is already doing. But, for instance, like it says, the protocol native build as a core primitive to the XRPL, developers can utilize AMM functionality without the need to create their own smart contracts and face associated risks, which is a great incentive because a lot of times they don't want to do what? They don't want to take on that risk. Continuous auction mechanism. It says the implementation of a continuous auction mechanism requires arbitrageurs to bid to capture price discrepancies. The AMM continuously auctions trading advantage for 24 hours periods at near zero trading fees, such as arbitrageurs do not have to wait for profits to exceed fees. This results in immediately arbitrage trading and maintains stable volatility. There's a little bit more in regards to all of this specific ones and so on. But one key thing I also want to mention to you is there is no need for instance, miners to extract value or front running. And if you want know some more of the technical aspects of just that, they have basically listed right here, as well as the CLOB DEX integration. I know that a lot of this is kind of super technical and so on, but if you're into these type of things and so on, they do have these specific breakdowns. And of course, like for instance, why build an AMM? I mean, again, it gives you some of the comparing, the contrasting. It's just nice to see the transparency, I should say, with what Ripple is providing to everybody. It's basically open source and transparent. And if you go to the Ripple site, you literally see that from top to bottom. It's really, really cool. All right, that was quite a bit to cover, and it's just that. Why? Because there's a lot going on with Ripple's XRP and some of these other things we just basically outlined and so on. So I hope you guys enjoyed some of the extended coverage on this particular video for XRP. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks for watching. Please hit that bell notification as well if you don't mind. If you enjoy a live show, check us out every single day, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, for Crypto Talk Now. Thanks again for watching, everybody. You all have a blessed day, and we'll see you on the next one.